Greetings once again, everyone. I'm going to get deeper into box voicings again today. And even though we've got some more work to do on box 1 and 2, I'm going to take a look at box 3 today. And these are called box voicings because we just simply analyze them in a box. Here's our basic chord. Okay, that's box 3. Before we get too deeply into that, let's look at a 2-5-1 in C. And when we get to the 5 chord, we can use this diminished chord as a rootless voicing. Right? Instead of having a G in it, it's got the flat 9, and because of that, it comes out as a diminished chord, but it's functioning as G7. There's G7, there's the flat 9. And really, all box 3 is it takes advantage of the fact that with any diminished chord, you can do what's called a whole tone extension. You can take any of the notes and move it up by a whole step. Okay? So we have a rootless D minor. I'm going to play the roots down here so that you can hear this stuff clearly. And then we have our G7 chord with the flat 9. So, there we go. That's our box 3 with a whole tone extension. Now, you know how diminished chords can be inverted, and they're really all the same, right? Because, because they're spread out by minor thirds. When you go up, you still have exactly the same notes in each chord. And so, an A flat diminished is also a B diminished, is also a D diminished, and an F diminished. So you can add whole tone extensions to each one of those. And actually all 4 of those chords will function as a G7th chord. Now, that's something that's not really clear on the box chart, because what the box chart kind of shows you is the 4 different ways that this chord can function. It can function as a G7th, as a B flat 7th, as a D flat 7th, and as an E 7th. But just like you can move the bass note around in minor thirds to get different dominant chords, you can also just stay on one bass note and move the chord around and get different G7 chords that have different tensions. Now, box 3 and box 4 are not inversions of each other like box 1 and box 2 are. Here's the way it functions, basically. 2-5-1, D minor, G7, and this is a beautiful chord. It's got the flat 9 and the 13 in it, as well as the 3rd and the 7th. 3rd, 7th, flat 9, 13. So you can't really call it an altered chord because it's got the 13 in it, and that 13 is unaltered. So it's kind of a mixture, but very usable. So here it is. All right. Now, it can also function as an E7th chord, and in a 2-5-1 it would be like B minor. All right, and then in the second column of my box there, it says E7 with a flat 9. So let's look at it again. We've got B minor 7th and E7. And notice there's no 7th here. We're calling it E7. It's just got the notes of the triad and the flat 9. But it sure sounds like a dominant 7th chord, and it can function that way. When you put that much tension into a chord, it's going to sound more dominant. So, okay, let's look at the 3rd column. It says it can function as D flat 7 with a sharp 9. Well, that can function that way. It is that. All right, so here we go. A 2-5-1 would then start on A flat. We got to D flat, and it's just got the 3rd, 5th, 7th, and sharp 9 going to the 1 chord. So let's listen to that again. And in our fourth column, B flat seventh, and it's going to have, it's got the fifth there, it's going to have a flat 9, well, that's the 7th, sorry, and then the flat 9 and a sharp 11. Now this has got a lot of tension in it. It's definitely an altered chord, so you could use the altered scale if you're using it this way. Let's see how it works. F minor, B flat 7th, E flat. Ah, that's great. In C, in E flat, let me do it here, in F sharp, and in A. And notice how the same chord there as my 5 chord with a different bass note sounded so different in each one, yet it's the same chord, and the same diminished scale will work with this chord, right? In D, I'm sorry, in the key of C. Right, here's my diminished scale to C. In the key of E flat. All right. In the key of F sharp. And in the key of A. So we decided that this chord can function as a G, a B flat, because diminished chords can move around in minor thirds. The bass notes could move around in minor thirds. All right, so we have G, B flat, D flat, and E. All right, we can also move this chord around and get 4 different G7th chords just by moving it in minor thirds. And this is something, you hear Chick Corea do this a lot. He'll be on a G7th or something and go like that before he ends up back wherever he's going. And a lot of other great pianists do the same thing. So feel free to move this chord around, when you're on a dominant 7th chord. That's box 3. All right, so let's find a song. See if we can maybe use box 3. What about Giant Steps? Is that in there? Okay, it's got a lot of dominant chords in there. All right, there, I just used it twice. All right. There's D. This time it's functioning as the one that's got, yeah. Now, of course, I could do it there too, if I was on B. To find these chords in 2-5-1s, you have to have good ways to get to them. All right, so the easiest one is probably the, very close to going to box 1. You just go like that. All right, but if you want to find, like, say, this one, maybe you're here. And if you want to find that one, maybe you start here. And my favorite, that one, you could just start with a D minor chord here and get to it that way. All right, so that'd be a good thing to practice. But it can work 4 other ways. Actually, eight ways altogether. It can work 4 ways as a dominant chord, and it can work 4 ways as a diminished chord. Obviously, it's F diminished with a whole tone extension. It's A flat diminished with a whole tone extension. And of course, you could do it up here too, and that's another box 3 voicing. And then up here, there's your diminished. That's a box 3 voicing too. So it functions as those diminished chords. So anytime in a song, if you've got a diminished chord, you could use box 3, which is just the whole tone extension there. So Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered is that song, and it uses a lot of diminished chords, so I put those whole tone extensions on there, and I got box 3. Some of them sounded better than others, but that's how you can use it on diminished chords. Please hit that subscribe button, and if you want to get an email every time I put up a video, you probably don't, but you can hit that little bell thing that's right beside the subscribe button, and I think it shows up a little bit more in your email or notifications on YouTube.